Welcome back to the Visibility Show. I am here with a very special guest. I've been following this individual for quite some time, and just to see where they are now, I'm just like, I'm truly blessed to know them. I'd like to introduce.
Hi guys, I'm Chasen the Attention as of right now, but you guys can also catch me outside of drag as Wright. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you. It is an honor. Like, I'm giddy with excitement.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing to, like I said, to have you guys reach out to me and everything. It's a blessing in disguise, honestly.
All right, Drew, the first question. What are your pronouns?
So my pronouns are he and him.
Excellent. How did coming out affect you?
That's a little rough. And the only reason I actually want to speak on that is not just for myself, but also for the younger generation, because the younger generation is not, I don't want to say they're not getting all of that experience as education, but a lot of people do turn their back on the younger crowd and the younger generation. So therefore, my coming out and how it affected me, it kind of actually affected me more so mentally and emotionally than anything. I'm very close with my father, and I'm very close with him to the point where, like, we had a very great bond. I came out and it just kind of just stopped. And there's nothing, I mean, unfortunately, he still calls me the wrong pronouns. He still uses my dead name and things like that. He tries to go into a different direction of my dead name, but it's still there. It affected me more so emotionally and mentally than anything. But now I'm living life. I moved out. I, got my own apartment. Um, I have my own car now. So I'm living my life the way that I should have been all along. And I can't be any happier. And that's honestly to all the younger generations and all the younger kids watching, please, 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 just know that it's not over. Blood's not family. I actually got blessed and very, very blessed. When I moved out of my parents' house, I was homeless, and I got blessed by two amazing people who took me in, and they basically adopted me. So blood's not always family, guys. There's family out there that will adopt you, whether it's drag family, a theater family, just a random person on the street that said, hey, look, you're homeless, here, come on in. That's literally what she did. She was this lady I speak of, her name is Logan, and she is honestly one of my biggest supporters. And I worked with her, and she just was like, all right, come on, you're coming into my house, let's go. And her husband's awesome too, and her kids are the blessing also. So, and she teaches her kids love is love. You love whoever you want. Who cares who you are? Things like that. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. So, I mean, it affected me, as I said, there for a while. It did affect me to the point where I really wanted to give up. But then I started pushing and pushing, and here I am. So.
Living your truth, as another interviewee said, and I was like, yes, live your truth. Love it.
Yep.
What kind of things might a person who is transgender go through when coming out?
So I chose this question just because living my life as a trans man, I have gone through these things. Let's not say that everybody has, or let's say people who have gone through these things, I haven't. So there's quite a few that I will say, though they can come and these things happen and they go through it. Definitely using wrong pronouns. That's my biggest thing is it happens. My voice isn't all that deep. So, I mean, when I'm on the phone with somebody, it's kind of like, especially the fact that I also haven't gotten my name legally changed yet because of COVID. Again, I'm blaming COVID with a lot of things because I was supposed to yeet the teat, as everybody calls it. But COVID happened, and I can't even, I'm waiting because I just don't trust myself with, with the pandemic going on. So, unfortunately, until you get your name legally changed when it comes to, you know, jobs or, things like that, you're going to run into that. I want everybody to know, and I do, I run into it all the time. I want you to know that don't discourage. It's because you're going by your government name on paperwork. Don't get upset. Just take a breather, relax, then move forward. I actually had to learn that the hard way because I kept getting pissed off, and I'm like, okay, why am I getting pissed off? It's because I haven't even done this yet. So let me not get mad. Let me not get upset. Pronouns is one thing. And another thing that, trans men, women go through is just the typical just fetish. I don't like the fetish. I'm not your toy. I want to make that very, very clear. I'm not your toy. Um, I'm also in a relationship with a trans woman where it's literally it's a subject where she's like, just men think I'm just this fetish and you can just throw money at me. Like, what? And she's like, at this point, like, why would you just do that? Like, there for a while, she was very single for a very long time until I came around. And because she told me that just men in general, whether they're cisgendered men, whether they're trans men, whether they're whatever have you, just men in general was just like, oh, you're a fetish, oh, and sexualize her. I'm not like that at all, because that's why. That's always my question, is why. A lot of trans people also go through, and I'm going to say this very lightly, and I'm a skid lightly to this, but at the same time, I'm speaking on the community altogether at this point. I've ran into it myself. I've actually seen it also. Some gay men hate trans men and trans women. They absolutely do. And it's not, I don't understand, because as I always start to learn about the history of Stonewall and the history of why pride is pride. And it all started from a trans woman, actually a bunch of trans women. And if it wasn't for trans women and even some trans men, I'm sorry, gay men wouldn't have their rights in certain aspects. I mean, we wouldn't even have pride if that was the case. And it hurts me, because it's like, you're supposed to be part of our community. You're supposed to be a part of us. And even some gay men are like, well, the T should be taken out of LGBT. And I will say to the younger generation, you may not see it, but once you get older and you start to really realize that's honestly what's going on. I've ran into it myself. I've seen it. When I go perform at some bars and some clubs, I've seen it. I have seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen it on every social media platform you can think of, and it's just, honestly, to me, it's disgusting. Some things you were gonna go through is the hate. Just keep pushing, and I've gone through the hate. I'm originally from a very small town in Maryland, and it's very conservative and very just Trump supporters out of nowhere. And growing up, I've gotten the hate. I've gotten all of it. I've gotten bullied. Once I started to open up and I cut my hair, I was pushed into a locker. And granted, I can fit in a locker because I'm small, but like, you shoved me in a locker for an hour And literally, I tried to bang out, try to do everything until one of my best friends came and actually got me out of the locker. So I've been there. Bullying is something that you're going to expect coming out, and it sucks. But I will say one thing that my father did tell me once I came out. He said, a lot of people are not going to agree with your decision of who you are as a, human, as what you're going through. A lot of people aren't going to agree with it. So those are certain things that you're going to go through. You're going to go through an emotional roller coaster once you start your, hormones. You're going to go through, if you're transitioning from a female to male, you're going to go through those anger rages. You're going to get it. Testosterone does that to you. I go through it almost, and I also have an anger problem. So I go through that almost maybe once a week, sort of. I mean, it happens. If you're a trans woman and you're, on the estrogen, you're going to be emotional. Those are things that you're going to go through as a trans person. And unfortunately, some of those things are terrible. It sucks, but we have to keep moving. If you are strong and you stay strong, you can keep pushing and keep moving.
Amen. You actually answered number 7 already.
I did.
I
answered that one.
Beautiful, which is beautiful. I'm actually going to ask you a question that is off script, if you don't mind.
Okay.
How long have you been, I would say, transitioning?
I came out as trans, I'm going to say 2012. So it's been almost 10 years. I started actually hormones a year and 6-7 months. And the only reason is because I didn't find the right connections. My girlfriend actually was the one that pushed me to start, because I couldn't find the right connections, or my dad was not willing to do what he wanted to help me, or anything. So I was like, okay, I don't even know where to go. Like, I was so clueless. I was fresh out of high school, like so clueless. So I've been fully actually transitioning for almost 10 years and being on the hormones for about a year and 7 months.
Beautiful. What should someone say when someone comes out to them?
That's a kind of question. Another reason why I chose that question is because, again, I look out for the younger generation. I want to start becoming an activist for the younger generation. And let's just say you're 10 years old. Okay, use that as an example. You come out to somebody, honestly, what they should tell you is, okay, let's breathe. All right, take it all in. Just for a second, take it all in and listen to them. Let them, tell you what they got to tell you. And honestly, I think someone should say, okay, that doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, I'll respect you for who you are. And if you are a trans man or a trans woman or, things like that, I'll call you by the pronouns that you want. Or if you're non-binary, I'll call you by whatever. And if you're gay, I mean, they accept you for who you are, and just tell them, okay, just make sure that you practice, and safe sex, because a lot of gay men are known for that. So you got to practice that and know your, sexual history. Make sure you go get checked all the time. And just like for anybody, actually. The other thing that I would say is that if somebody came out to somebody and they didn't know what to say, honestly, just tell them that you're there for them. That if you need a shoulder to cry on, hey, I'm here. Or, hey, well, let's go get you some groups. Let's go see if there's some support groups. Maybe I can join you in case I don't understand. So maybe to help me understand better, I'll come with you to some support groups. Honestly, I'm saying that, and I wish somebody was to say that to me.
Ruth.
You know, I'm saying this because of the fact that that's what it should be and how it should be, but unfortunately, I never got that. So,
Here's to the next generation, right?
right.
I'm going to modify this next question. Where do you see the trans community in the future, like 5 years from now?
Where do I see the trans community? Oh, man. So, honestly, and I'm hoping that this actually happens, I can see the trans community having all of their rights back to where it needs to be. And even not even just having them back, but having them to where you're not banned from serving in the military. And that actually, that right there, that one right that Trump did hurt me. And it hurt me deep because if it wasn't for that, I could be in the military. Could be in the military right now. Not just that, but I can see, and I really hope that this actually happens, is that, you know, the trans community can actually be able to not walk out their door and feel like they have to watch their back everywhere they go. I'm just gonna say this: there's probably been maybe 400, maybe if not more. I don't know the statistics on it just fully, but I know that there's been close to almost 360 to 40 trans women killed this year, let alone we haven't even hit December yet. And it hurts. It hurts to lose a trans sister that you've never even met. And it's crazy, and I hate this, and I hate it so much, but I'm really praying and I'm hoping that in the next, 5-10 years in the future, that trans men aren't getting all of the attention, because honestly, a lot of trans women don't. Trans men, once you see a trans, because you don't think. A lot of people, it's harder to clock a trans woman or trans men than it is to clock a trans woman. It's easier to clock a trans woman, and that's the problem, is that a lot of trans women just go unrecognized. One of my favorite icons, actually it's also my girlfriend's favorite icon, is Trace Lysette. I love her. And I also think that they should have more TV shows.
Truth.
Pose is one of my favorites, but at the same time, not just in ballroom. Give me a show focused on the trans community itself, not just in the ballroom scene. I love Pose, and I love everything that it has to speak on, because it's not just the trans scene. It's not just the, your typical ballroom scene in the 80s and the 90s, but it's also speaking on HIV and AIDS. I want to see more trans actors. Sorry, my dog's barking. And everything like that. Like, I really want to see more of that. I also do not want to see any more of, and what I'm hoping that this happens in the future, is that, because there was this problem with Halle Berry just recently trying to play a trans man role. That's what I want to see actually happen, is that a trans man can play his own role. Not a cisgendered woman, not a cisgendered man. No. So that's kind of sums up. I just really want everybody to have their rights. I want to be able to adopt a child without having this load of a case this long for them to interview me, for them to be like, oh, are you even worth, like, because you're trans? I want to be able to go to a different country, because there's some countries where as soon as they know that you're trans, you're dead. I actually found that out when it comes to, like, Dubai. It's a random fact that I found out the other day, that I can't even step foot in that country because they'll literally kill me. So I really want all of the countries to come together and be like, enough is enough. They're human as well. We're all human. We all bleed the same color. So it's kind of where I can kind of see, and I'm hoping that once Trump gets out of office, we can move forward with everything.
Truth, truth. Well, Drew, thank you so much for spending some time and chatting with me. I've learned a lot about you, and I'm sure the rest of our audience will as well. Um,
Thank you so much.
is there any final thing that you'd like to say to people?
All I'm gonna say is, coming from my coming from my drag mother. She's a very well known drag queen in DC. As she always says, the next 30 minutes is not promised, so please live your life to the fullest. And the next 30 seconds isn't even promised. As she always says, the 30 minutes and the 30 seconds are not promised. We never know what could happen in the next 5-10 seconds of your life. Um, all I'm also going to say is to end this on a really positive note. Everybody out here that's going to be watching this, please just keep your head up. I know COVID has screwed a lot of things up and has messed everything up. To keep your head up. I'm going to tell you that right now. Keep your head up, chin up, smile. Put a smile on somebody's face. You know, put a smile on somebody's face. They may not be able to see you because you have your face mask on, but they'll be able to see the grin coming, from ear to ear. Just smile. Everything's going to be all right. And if anybody needs some kind of help, or if anybody wants some kind of advice, you guys can personally shoot me a message. I'm always here for anybody to listen. I'm an open ear. I would love to hear other people's stories. I would love to be able to chat with another person about whatever they're going through. Again, have a lovely, lovely rest of your evening. And I really just keep it up. Don't let anybody get you down. Bullying is not okay, and I'll end that on that note.
Thank you so much, Drew. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me again. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a great opportunity.